a list of ages, hometowns, and salaries for these jobs? And folks following?
We can certainly, I don't think they're hiding their ages yet. And we can certainly give you their hometowns. And actually, there is a handout that I think has been presented, or will be presented. We'll give you all that information. About the pay, I'm not sure the pay is on there, but you know, they'll be paid similar amounts that the people in their positions are currently getting.
Is Susan's job a new position? Is this something you've created for her?
Well, governors have had special assistants in the past. You might see us have one or two of them, and this is the first one we've announced.
What's the exact portfolio for Susan Bartlett?
Well, there's a number of areas that we need to deliver on quickly. The first is, if we do not have broadband and cell service delivered every last mile by 2013, we can't grow jobs. We know that we have huge healthcare challenges, although that won't be her primary focus. I have spoken consistently about the big challenges in the budget. The first we know is healthcare, but the second is the fastest growing area of our budget is corrections. I also have talked a lot about my commitment to early child education. So we're going to ask Susan to deal with a lot of issues, but specifically, I think her main mission will be helping to deliver on the promises of broadband and cell service connectivity, so that Vermont is no longer behind Slovakia, Romania, and the developing world in those areas. We can actually grow jobs and get connected from here. The second is huge potential in reducing our corrections spending by stopping recidivism that we have in our current system at the same time that we beef up early child education. And finally, the nuts and bolts of ensuring that we run government more efficiently. That when you go to the Agency of Human Services, we hope to have one-stop shopping, the list goes on from there. So really taking the broad themes that we talked about in the campaign in those areas and helping us to make them happen.
So how would she do that exactly? Would she serve as a liaison then between you and commissioners, or how does that, or the VTA and that sort of thing?
She'll certainly work with the commissioners and secretaries of the agencies. But as important, one of Susan's strengths is to work with the grassroots to actually make things happen. That's what she's good at, in my experience.
For Secretary of Administration, Treasurer Spaulding, what does that mean for the succession from your office? Is there a new election, or can you appoint from within? How does that work?
No, actually, if there's a vacancy in the office, we've got our counsel with us, but I think I can answer that question, Shane. When there's a vacancy in the office, the governor will appoint till the next election. I intend to serve out the rest of my term. We have a Secretary of Administration, as you all know. His name is Neil Vanderbilt. I look forward to, during the transition between now and January, keeping up to speed with Neil, the Department of Finance and Management. But ultimately, around the middle of January, the governor will be appointing a new treasurer.
Jeb, did you know before the election that you might be moving from the treasurer's job? And
that's a good question, Dave. And the answer is, honestly, I was as surprised to get this opportunity given to me as you probably were in seeing me walk down those stairs. The thought had never crossed my mind. Those of you that have talked to me about the office of the treasurer know how much I love being state treasurer. And I had looked forward to working with the new governor in the capacity of state treasurer and making sure they understood all the important work we did. But sometimes in life, and maybe I'm a concrete example, and you never know what life is going to throw at you. And when a new governor comes in, particularly a governor that's a friend of yours that you have a lot of confidence in, and says, would you please take this opportunity to work with me as a team member, it's really hard to say no. And my first reaction was, no. Yeah, you're joking. What's the next question? But I actually was persuaded by the fact that that actually my experience does match pretty well with the job. Peter mentioned we worked together in the state Senate, and when I was in the Senate, I not only did chair the Appropriations Committee for a number of years and the Education Committee, but I was on the Government Operations Committee for I think 12 years. Chaired the Joint Fiscal Committee. I chaired the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of state government. And working as state treasurer, you're dealing with a whole range of financial aspects. And of course, the Secretary of Administration you know, is intimately involved with those. And so the opportunity came to me, you know, fairly recently, but very persistently. And those, and I have to say, I will say, you know, that I'm going to get used to not speaking my own mind all the time, because I'm going to be looking forward to working with the governor. But you should know that this gentleman has given me some of the best opportunities I've ever had in my life. You mentioned the Senate Appropriations Committee. I loved it. Peter Shumlin was the one that convinced me to run for state treasurer. And I truthfully had never thought of running for state treasurer until Peter Shumlin asked me to do it.
Which he said no.
And now he's throwing another opportunity. And if you're in somebody that, you know, loves public service, and I mentioned you have confidence in a governor and you think he can contribute, it's hard to say no.
How do you keep talking him into these things?
Sorry, what was that?
How do you keep talking him into these things? You keep saying, you know, what you say, somehow he ends up doing what you want him to do.
Well, you know, a job of the governor is to find the best people to serve the state and then convince them that it's in their interest to do the job. And, you know, I think it's worth mentioning that we all know that state government jobs don't pay at the level that the private sector does. There are a number of people here, Beth included, I'm sure, who are going to take pay cuts to work for the state that they love. And the most important thing is, you know, as a governor, you need to be able to identify talent and then convince them that they need to go where their talent will best serve the state. And you know, a governor is only as good as the people that that individual is lucky enough to surround themselves with. And I'm just extraordinarily honored to be introducing this team of 5 that's going to help to deliver on the promise.
Jeb, you're 2